Are for today? Looks like.
I'll put it back on later.
Okay.
Cool.
Howdy, y'all. We are live. And are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
We're live. Okay. And it is Tuesday, the 30th of May. It is 1800 Pacific. That's 6 p.m. for the moguls out there from fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. Welcome to the International Geek of Livestream Mystery Show.
Wow. Impeccable.
Beautiful.
And I'm Bearhart. I'm going to change my name in the thing here because I always forget to do that. So, you know, people notice that my Zoom comes up by default as Spartacus. And and the reason for that is because my name is somewhat complicated because I really do have two legitimate names. And when I'm on Zoom, you know, I Zoom as both Bo Wyman and I Zoom as Bearhart. And so I decided that I just needed to put something there. And originally I just had the letter B. And I could just put a bee emoji. Hey, how would that work? Am I allowed to put an emoji in this? I'm gonna find out here real quick. I'm gonna find out.
I bet you can.
Oh, that's excellent. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, let me check.
Oh, it's just a bee.
Yeah. I should make that my default.
Oh man, it's not showing on the chat or
Oh,
no,
really?
on the stream itself. It's not showing.
It's not?
No.
Oh, that's too bad.
That is. Oh, not on the stream. That's right.
Not on the stream. It's showing for us, but not on the other side. It's just showing up as a star.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just a star.
Okay, so I'm changing it to this again. And that shows up?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's a bug, and you should report that bug.
Okay.
Speaking of bugs and bees, so I wanted to talk because I had all of this event with my email over the weekend, and I wanted to just chat a little bit about history of email on the internet. My first exposure to the internet was way back when, in the late 70s, when it was still DARPANET, and it was very, very much in its infancy. And I was still working for Merit, which is a consulting firm in Santa Monica, California. And we were working as a subcontractor of NASA. We were working on Voyager project, but we were also working on some other stuff, including a project called Tokamak, which is a Russian term. And I'm not sure exactly the meaning of the Russian term, but the project was a ginormous toroidal transformer that was designed to create a ginormous magnetic bottle to contain a nuclear fusion reaction, and to be able to contain that so that the energy could be harnessed and used. And the other side of the project, so Tokamak was down in San Diego, and Shiva, which I understand both these projects are still going on from what I hear. Shiva was a laser fusion project going on at Lawrence Livermore Labs. And I don't even think it's called that anymore. It might just be called Livermore Labs, but we called it L cubed, Lawrence Livermore Labs. And Kirsten is trying to parse that.
Did you say cubed?
Yeah, L cubed.
But there's only 3.
Yes, 3 is cube. So 2 is squared. So LL would be L squared. right? Because in math, if you put two symbols right next to each other, it's the same as multiplying them. And if you then put another one, so two together would be like cubed if they're the same symbol, and three together, or two together would be squared if they're the same symbol, and three together is cubed if they're the same symbol. And us being all math geeks, LLL, we just
But
wrote
math.
one L and a 3. And I'm, I was W squared because William Weinman, WW. Anyway, so Shiva, I'm like going way off the subject here, but I'll get there. Shiva was a fusion project, and the idea was to have a pellet with a core of hydrogen, pure hydrogen, and 21 terawatt lasers, each 1 micron in diameter. And so this is a concentration of energy, right? 20 terawatts, all focused on this tiny, tiny pellet with a handful of hydrogen atoms inside. And the idea was that if you were to bombard this hydrogen with enough energy, that it would actually fuse the atoms, because there's fission, which is splitting them, and fusion, which is the inverse of splitting them. Okay.
Obviously.
So anyway, and this is all going on at Lawrence Livermore Labs. And in between at Caltech was like the coordination of all of this. And so we would sometimes go down to Pasadena and hang out at Caltech. And at Caltech, getting to it, at Caltech, Caltech was a node on the DARPANET. Now, DARPANET at this time had only a handful of nodes. There was Caltech, there was UCLA, there was DARPA at the Pentagon, and a few others. I think there was one in San Francisco. There's like one in Chicago or something. Hey, Porcupine, good to see you. And this was like the extent of the network back then. And it was very, very experimental. And one of the major applications that made all of this expense and technology worth it was what they called electronic mail, which today we call email. And email is far more sophisticated today, of course, but actually not. When it's really not. I take that back. So back then, I don't even think we had SMTP yet. Just routed packets and sent them to the server and displayed them on the screen. Soon thereafter, SMTP was created, DNS was created, routing was upgraded, and eventually by the time the late 80s rolled around and they made the DARPANET, don't we all love Kirsten's cap? So that's the Aggie cap, the Texas A&M, agriculture and manufacturing. Is that what it is?
And I was a dance major, so we love that for me.
Right. Oh, A&M has been it started out as a farmer school,
military,
but it's been a major university for many decades now, and a good one. There's probably 3 really good high quality universities in Texas. A&M is one, UT is one. Actually, UT is like 5 of them, and SMU. And so, yeah, I have, I knew a lot of people at SMU. I didn't really know a lot of people at the other ones, but living in Dallas and hanging out with artists.
SMU's like right there.
Yeah.
A&M's in College Station and UT's in Austin.
Right.
You gotta drive away.
But they're all like right there on the I-15, aren't they?
I'm trying to think of how I used to drive to A&M. I think I took a bunch of country back roads because it was easy
Well, yeah, but where were you living at the time?
in College Station.
Oh, so yeah, I mean,
I'm
so
home.
yeah,
I'm home to visit.
but if you wanted to get there from Dallas, I mean, you got to take I-15, right?
I want to say yes, but it feels wrong.
Yeah, okay. But you know, it's right there, you know, halfway to Austin, right? Moo.
Ooh.
Probably because we're talking
Moo.
about farming.
Yeah. So you're actually yeah, I don't know if I want to say this in public. This house that you may have been looking at is actually on a farm and market road, right?
Oh yeah,
On a FM.
the
So
old
go,
FM baby.
yeah, I mean they have these roads in Texas that are basically county roads that have numbers instead of names, and every state's got that. But in Texas they call them FM and the number, and FM stands for farm and market because
And
Texas will never let you forget that that they've been around for so long, and that they're
and those roads were built specifically for tractors to get from the farm to the market. So I used to get really PO'd when I'd be driving down the road and I'm stuck behind a freaking tractor. And I called Chase one day.
but you're the interloper, not them.
Right, exactly. So I called Chase and I was like, I'm being a Karen right now, but I'm pretty sure I'm about to call the police on this tractor, like blocking and slowing down traffic. And he was like, it is literally more legal for them to be on a farm to market road than you are. And I was like, huh? How have I lived
Exactly.
in Texas almost my whole entire life and I didn't know that tractors had the freaking right of way on an FM?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, okay, well.
And I think that I think they're allowed to shoot you if you piss them off.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
And remember to drive friendly.
I used to take 45 all the way there.
45.
Mhm.
So, oh no, it's not 15. No, it's 35. I'm sorry, I got it mixed up. It's 35, not 45. It's 35. 35 is the one that goes from Dallas, all the way down to like San Antonio, right?
Yes, but San Antonio's over here and College Station's over here, like more towards Houston.
Oh, so 40, I thought 45 was like in Louisiana.
No.
Okay.
45 goes
Well,
up and down. 35 also goes up and down. And
right. All the odd numbers go north and south, and the even numbers go east and west. You knew that, right?
Yes. I was not today years old when I found that out.
And the 3-digit ones are loops. And if there's a zero in the middle, of a 3-digit interstate, that means the loop is all within the same metro area.
I feel like you have a follow-up to that, and it's going to be a bad dad joke.
Nope, that's it. Anyway, so yeah, as the internet grew, the need to organize shit became more pressing. I mean, initially it was just, we're going to send some routing instructions and these packets are going to go here and they're going to go there. And it was all very, very experimental. But over time, it became necessary. I mean, initially you'd have like a little book with everybody's IP address in it. And initially it all, fit on like one page. And, you would know the IP addresses of everybody. And in time, that was like no longer feasible. So everybody would pass around these files, these host files. And if you look today in the etc directory, the etc or etc directory on a Unix system, you'll see a file called hosts. And that gives you the need to procrastinate too. I feel like I'm in the middle of a conversation. You ever walk in the middle of a conversation and you're like, huh?
All the time.
Yeah. So the eventually in time, even that host file, which might have had a few thousand entries in it, and they were all passed around by email, so that everybody had a current host file. And eventually that became unwieldy. And somebody created a protocol called DNS, Domain Name Service, which the purpose of which was to translate names into IP addresses. And then everybody got, each host system got a domain name. And initially, the top level domain names were just the names of the site. So you would have, UCLA, you would have Caltech, you'd have, and these would be the top level domains. But over time, even that became unwieldy. And they had to create what we call today the domain registries. And initially, the only domain registry was VeriSign in the DC area, like in Vermont, or not Vermont. What's the V state that's over there?
Virginia?
Virginia, yeah. Oh, thank you. The V state over near DC, yeah. And so there was VeriSign in Virginia, where and that was originally the repository for the top level domains. And then sometime in the 90s, after the DARPANET became the internet and it became more or less public, actually the very late, it was in 1999 when they switched from everything being at VeriSign to what they call today the SRS, I don't know what it stands for, but it's the registry system that is distributed. And at that point there was a Whois service that I wrote the major client for it, which for a long time was called BW Whois. And I retired that like just a couple of years ago, really, because it's just no longer really relevant, and maintaining it was becoming a PIA. In any event,
Yeah.
along with all of these changes, and at some point in the mid 80s or so, somebody created the SMTP protocol, SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. And like so many things on the internet, it is remarkably simple and simplistic. And all it is, you open up a TCP connection and you send some text that says, hey, I want to connect to your SMTP server, and the SMTP server sends some text back that says, hey, you're connected, tell me what you want. And then you send it some headers, and you send it the body of the email and a period on a line by itself to indicate that it's the end. And I wrote lots of SMTP clients and servers like in Perl back in the day. I think I think there's a library for this in the Perl repository for their modules, and I even forget what that's called. But I'm gonna have to refresh all of my Perl memory soon as I get ready to do a Perl course later in the year.
What about your diamond memory?
My what?
Like a step up from Pearl.
Platinum.
No, I got platinum memory.
There it is. We want to take it a step further.
Yeah. So then what happened? When the internet became a thing, I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine. This is back in about 95. And I was, hey, Rickety.
That
I
was
Porcupine
Porcupine Butler.
Oh, can
Yeah,
he see that?
That was his emoji that he sent in Twitch. In Twitch,
Oh,
yeah.
love it. Love it. So, where was I? Lost my train of thought. Give me a moment. Yeah. So it was 95, and I had this idea that the internet was going to become a big thing and that it was going to become important for everybody, even in rural areas, to have access to it, because there were going to be a lot of things that would require an internet connection in order to happen. Plus, eventually we'd do like all our shopping on the internet. I had this all figured out, like way before it happened, before Amazon, before, anything was online. And so I was looking to raise some money and maybe put a company together to create turnkey rural ISPs. So you could spend $1,000 or a few $1,000, buy this package, set it on a desk, and create yourself a turnkey ISP, no matter where you were. And I started shopping it around, and a very good friend of mine who's a successful real estate developer, had lots and lots of money. I pitched this to him, and he says, I don't know if that's really going to happen. I don't see the internet getting to be that big. 5 years later, he was kicking himself and like telling all his friends, this guy is such a genius. He saw it coming. But
about you?
Yeah.
That's what gave such an inflated ego about being able to tell the future.
Well, and this is why, when I come up with like ideas like the one that we're not talking about yet, I'm so confident that I've got it right, because there's been several times in my history when I've said, this is going to be the thing, and everybody didn't believe me, and then that became the thing. So anyway, the other thing that happened in the 90s, in like the late 90s, like around 97, 98, is email spam became a huge thing. Looks like we lost the kitty, and I believe she's here at Bear House. So it's not like she has trouble connecting. I mean, I don't know what happened. Sometimes I think she turns off her video because she's got to like sneeze or something. Anyway.
Moving on.
So spam became a thing, and people were abusing the SMTP email system for the purpose of sending out advertisements. And there was a guy named, oh man, I got to look up his name. Sanford.
Hi, I glitched. Is everything okay?
Mm-hmm.
His name was Sanford Wallace, and we used to call him Spamford. And he had a very successful business sending out junk faxes, like as far back as the 80s. And he had been convicted of like fraud and been to jail and all kinds of stuff. But at some point in the late 90s, in this Wikipedia I'm looking at, it says 97, he became notorious for taking that same business he had done with faxes and putting it on the internet using email. Now, the thing about this, both systems had the same problem, that the sender was completely free. You could send out all of this material completely for free, and it only cost the receiver money. So in the case of faxes, it would cost the receiver, paper and ink, and it would tie up their phone line, right? And as long as their phone line was tied up, they couldn't receive other faxes. And in the case of email, it costs you data, because in those days you paid by the kilobyte for your internet connection. And so receiving all of this spam actually costs you money. Plus it clogs up your email, and it makes it harder for you to filter out, the spam from that. And so it became a thing that there was a need for email security. And, over time that developed into things like DKIM that we have today, which is a cryptographic token that exists in your DNS records that authenticates your mail server, so that when you're sending mail, the receiver can look up your DKIM and see if it matches your domain. Yeah, so this is how we got to where we are today. But before we had the authentication protocols, what we had to do was, there was like lookup services that were run as like a charity, that would, or they were funded by the major ISPs, that would keep a database of bad senders. And when email comes in, you would query the central repository for that, and you get your response and decide whether or not the mail was valid or not. The problem with that is it depended on the availability of that service. And since there wasn't really a revenue, a valid revenue stream for it, it was, just funded by the ISPs or by donations, they often didn't have the capacity to handle all of the requests, and mail would get stalled while, you're sending your mail, and it's like sitting there waiting for this, this response. So other solutions were needed, and the DNS solution with the DKIM header seems to be working pretty well today. But everything that we do to try to mitigate this spam problem, because the spammers have such a low cost of doing business, they're able to, and high revenue, because people pay them to send this spam. They're able to allocate resources to coming up with ways to get around the various mitigations. And I call this whack-a-mole. And this is why I stopped running my own mail servers, because it was just too much work, always trying to stay a step ahead of the spammers. And so that's where we are today with email. And of course, SMTP has been displaced by, what's it called? IMAP. Yeah. So originally mail was sent using POP servers, the post office protocol, and then the SMTP, the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. And today it's Internet Message Access Protocol, which is IMAP, which allows you to store your mailboxes on your server and blah, blah, blah. My email is very, very bogged down right now, because I never clean out my inbox. Well, about once or twice a year, I clean out my inbox. And right now I have 62,000 messages in my inbox. And if somebody tries to send me an email, it doesn't get to me for 5 or 10 minutes, because it needs to get cleaned out. And I will do that later this week. I will not do it tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm going to go play poker.
Yeah.
But soon I will get all my emails straight. Also, right now, for some reason, my DKIM isn't working, and I cannot send email to Gmail, Gmail. So my outgoing email to Gmail always bounces. And I am ignoring that for a couple of days, because the World Series of Poker starts tomorrow, and I'm going to go play some poker. So that is my history of email on the internet. I hope that made some sense, and I hope that was entertaining and informative for our audience. If you have any questions or comments about this, please tell us in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to turn this over to Ricky and see if the kids have anything they want to talk about.
So I was saying earlier today, I was like, oh, I've got qualms with emails. And then I realized that our qualms are not even remotely similar, because I didn't know all of that about email. And mostly mine's like self-induced, if you will. Because I won't read the fine print when they're like, when I'm at a store and they're like, can we get your email? And I'll be like, yeah, sure. Give me points, do this, do that. But kind of to
So like, you know what email I give them?
Your Gmail.
I give them declined@example.com. Example.com is a domain that is reserved for examples in textbooks. And it by definition, it does not work. You cannot send email to example.com. And declined is the mailbox. So I say declined at example.com. And the clerk doesn't care. They're not looking. They really don't care. But you know, I get, because I've been on my primary email address, which I am not going to speak out loud in a public forum, was like my first email address when I first got my first domain in 1994. And it has been around so much. It's been published in like RFPs, and, you know, public documents on the internet. It's been around and in the public for, you know, almost 30 years now. And because of that, I have an inbox with 62,751 messages in it, at least 61,000 of which are spam. And I need to clean that out every once in a while.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Pardon? Okay. Yeah.
I said that's accurate.
Yeah. So, you know, that is a problem. And you know, I keep that email address really just for anything that I need to use where I expect that they're going to send me mail without telling me. You know, for people I know and for, you know, business associates and stuff like that, I have my other email address, which I use as my primary. But, you know, for just general, you need an email address, fine, here, use this one. I'll do that. Or I'll give them declined at example.com. Anyway, I mean, if it's something I need to log into, like a subscription to, you know, The Economist or something like that, you know, then I'll use the email address that has been around for 30 years. And they'll send me their newsletters or whatever, and I may or may not see them. But yeah, anyway.
Well, like sometimes I'll sign up specifically for the emails to like get a discount if I know that I'm purchasing something. And then
nowadays they want both your email and your cell phone. And then you gotta say stop in the text.
But my the desktop version of my Yahoo email, there is like a whole section now for like subscriptions, email subscriptions that you signed up for, and it puts them in these big blocky text to be like, hey, you're subscribed to this, and it's like a one click to just unsubscribe.
That's
and then it'll take a few so while I do all of this to myself, Yahoo's made it really easy to get rid of all of that.
You remember their commercials? Yahoo!
Yes, I do. Yes, I very much do.
Yeah. When they first started offering email, I was one of the beta testers. So I got a very, I can give it, well, no, I can't. I got a very, very early, very simple email address at Yahoo, but I have never, ever used it. And still it gets 2,000 or 3,000 pieces of mail a day, which are all, you know, other people like accidentally use it because it's such a common word. The same thing happens with my Bearheart at Gmail. You know, other people will like sign up for something, you know, using that address because they think it's funny or whatever. I had a friend who, because I used to run a hosting company and I used to sell domains, and a friend signed up for stink.com because he thought it was just funny. And it ended up just getting flooded with incredibly rude, grotesque spam. And he had to stop using it.
Yeah.
Humanity is what it is, and always has been and always will be. Human beings are messy. That's actually one of Bear's laws. Human beings are messy and often gross and adolescent.
That makes sense.
Ricky, you're being quiet again.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so when you said that you were having trouble with your email, is that at all related to both Kirsten and I having trouble with our work emails?
I don't know. What's the trouble you're having?
I'm getting every message I try to send, every email I try to send kicked back to me, which is the worst possible timing. You know why? But every email says mail delivery failure.
Yes, it's that problem. And I'm going to
Okay.
fix it. I'm going to fix it later in the weekend, not tomorrow.
Yeah, no. Don't
Tomorrow
worry
is
about it.
poker.
I just sure.
So
Tomorrow
that is
in
the
fact
same problem.
poker.
And it's like cropped up over the last like week or a few days. And it has to do with something, and it's only mail sent to Gmail addresses, or at least that's where it's cropped. I think that's all it is and Gmail has changed the way that they're parsing the DKIM headers. And I need to figure it out, and I need to sit down and pay attention to it and figure it out. I tried to do that over the weekend and found that our mail provider had expired my master password, and I needed to like go through their compliance support in order to get it reset, because the email address that they had on file for me for doing the reset was an email address that wasn't working due to my own configuration error. So I've got a bunch of stuff I got to fix, and I was going to do it tomorrow, but I'm going to go play poker tomorrow. So
Well,
so
there is
it'll get fixed on Thursday. And that is like
Porcupine Butler says
Pearl.
top priority. Gotcha. No, Porcupine Butler says poker heart and OMG, it's a cat.
Yeah. So and I have cats on my hat here too. I might wear this hat. I might wear this hat for poker tomorrow. Yeah, so that's that problem. And the WSOP happens, once a year, and they got the senior tournament tomorrow. I love the seniors tournaments because when I go and play, OMG, it's a cat. What does that mean?
Yeah, same comment. It's because I think I put my cat avatar on, and he's commenting on my Rickety persona.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so they have during the WSOP, which lasts about, I don't know, 6 weeks or something. Every Wednesday at 9 a.m. they have a seniors tournament, and I love the seniors tournaments because in the normal tournaments, which I'm going to play some of them, the normal they call them the daily deep stacks. I'll play some of those, and remember I told you I finished 4th in one of those once. So I did pretty good, and I've never duplicated that success. But in the seniors tournaments, so in the regular tournaments, you got all these young, aggressive, idiot kids who they've got a lot of disposable income and they don't care, and they play very, very stupid and crazy. And it's hard to play against them because, they're constantly going it's like they're playing a game of chicken. And that's not enjoyable to me. I know how to defend against it, and it's incredibly boring. I just have to play super tight and only play when I have like incredibly, incredibly good cards, which is also really easy to read. But so that's just not as much fun. I'll play in a few of those, but I love the seniors tournaments because they are not like that. They're people, they're mostly older people who are playing intelligently and sensibly, and it's just more fun. I get to play poker instead of playing chicken. So that's tomorrow, and so I'm going to do that tomorrow morning. Which means getting up very early. So right after this, I'm going to take care of a couple of things, wind down, go to bed, get a good night's sleep, and get up super early and go down there and register and play poker. Yeah.
I'm excited for you. You'll have to keep us posted.
Well, yeah, I will, and I'll send photographs and maybe some text updates, and maybe you can update our social media.
So does that mean like Ricky and I get to take over the live tomorrow?
Oh, you know what? Yes, it does. I'll try to tune in and listen,
Don't
Yay.
bother.
and maybe I'll,
Gotta stay focused.
yeah, maybe maybe I'll join you, but I'll be paying attention to the poker. And
fair.
but we'll see how it goes, because I don't always get good internet there, because there's thousands of people vying for the same internet, and I don't know how it is. They recently moved it. This last year I didn't go because I was super busy with business stuff, and I should be super busy with business stuff this year too, but I missed it last year. But they moved it from the Rio the year before to last year. Now it's at the new Horseshoe, which used to be Bally's. Used to be Bally's, and part of it is in the Paris, which is connected by bridge. So I went down there and did my recon. I do this every year when I go. I'll go and do my recon, the day before, walk around, get the lay of the land, make sure I know where everything is, so it doesn't take me too long, the day that I want to go in. And it's really nice. Whereas at the Rio, I don't know if Ricky, the Rio. It's like the scuzziest,
Yeah, I
most
used to go there
disgusting
every year. I love that place. I used to love that place.
Yeah, it's like the most scuzzy, disgusting, outdated, rundown, smells like sewage.
It used to be nice.
Yes, it did used to be nice. Like 10 years ago, it was nice, but in the last few years, it's just nobody's been taking care of it, because they hadn't even decided they were going to tear it down yet. I think now that Caesars has bought it, but they leased it back to the previous owners, so they still haven't been taking care of it. But I understand that at some point Caesars is going to upgrade it or rebuild it or something. Yeah, it used to be very nice. And
But it's the real Caesar's Palace. They can't do anything to it.
What do you mean?
It's the real Caesar's Palace.
Well, no, or are you kidding? No, you don't know how this works. So Caesars Entertainment owns at least a dozen of the major hotels on the Strip and near the Strip. The Rio is like off the Strip, and they, a lot of them they'll lease out the management to another company, but what they did with the Bally's, they bought the Bally's, and then they I don't know if they tore it down, but they rebranded it to the Horseshoe, and that's where they're having the WSOP. Caesars owns the World Series of Poker. They own the brand, and they run it every year. They didn't initially. Initially, it was run by Binion's downtown, and before that, it was actually like at some hotel in Reno for the first year or two. But now Caesars even owns Binion's, and that's why they made the Horseshoe, which was Binion's Horseshoe, and so they're calling it the Horseshoe, and it's on the Strip, and that's where it is. Anyway, that's what's going on tomorrow. You guys got anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Like I said,
Porcupine Butler's
What, Ricky?
Porcupine Butler says Kirsten is such a troll
I
because you're trolling.
I wasn't initially trying to do that, and then something just like took over me. Maybe it was like a troll spirit. And it
What
just
did I miss?
just like all the random stuff that I was saying throughout the live stream tonight. I haven't really felt like myself today. So maybe that was like my attempt at feeling more like myself, but I realized that is also not me, is being a troll.
Okay.
Like when you said pearl and I said no diamond and you're like platinum.
Oh, okay. I don't consider that trolling. I guess it might be. I just,
I did it more than once though. And you know what?
I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I have no problem with it. I enjoy it. It is the sort of thing that normally goes on in my brain anyway. So, it kind of, I don't know, it kind of
Now you
feels
have a
familiar.
physical, a physical manifestation of that.
Yes,
In
you
your
are,
life.
You are my imaginary friend incarnate.
That makes me feel so good about myself. And that was not sarcasm, even though it sounded like it.
So yeah, no, I didn't take it as sarcasm. Yeah, I have an old expression. You're just jealous because the voices only speak to me.
I feel like I've seen that somewhere before.
Yeah, I should put that. I should put that on a T-shirt. That one's going on a T-shirt.
Me and Ricky can make you one.
Oh, I've been making these T-shirts, where I just write it out and put it on a T-shirt.
Where do you put it on a T-shirt at?
At Zazzle.
Send it to me.
You've seen my shirt that says, "If you can read this, you're too close to me."
Yeah, but me and Ricky can make those.
So I had this conversation with Ricky because
then I'm telling you.
because she had presented herself as the expert in making T-shirts. Do you guys want to make my T-shirts? Is that what you want to do? I'll send you a shirt and you're going to get a silk screen machine and make it.
Well, I do heat transfer vinyl.
Yeah, heat transfer vinyl is the best way to do it. Do you have the heat press, Kirsten?
Yup.
Nice.
So I could
love a
send
heat
you my
press. Mine's
artwork
covered in
and you
stick
could
outs.
make a T-shirt.
Yes.
And I can send you a T-shirt because there's shirts that I like and shirts that I hate. And the shirts that I get from Zazzle, I've been having to cut out the tags and shit. But I'll go online to Bombas and I'll get a real high quality shirt, and I'll send that to you with some artwork, and we'll see what you can do.
I love it. Can't wait.
Actually, the absolute best place to buy the best frickin' blank t-shirt is actually a website called blanks.com. And I don't even know if they're still, they're still in business. Oh, wait, no, they're not. Hold on. Blank
I take it back.
T-shirt company. They might not. I remember they completely sold out a couple years ago and everybody was so freaked. But they were called Blanks, and
that's
they had
all extremely
such good
informative.
t-shirts. I'll hunt down the website. Yeah. Well,
that was extremely informative and useful.
Okay, well, forget I said
impressed.
anything because
No,
they're
how
actually.
can I
you
forget
I said
that?
anything.
It's like Shakespeare. How can I forget that?
It was like a soliloquy.
That's trolling.
Thank you. You tell them.
You tell them.
All right.
My gosh.
So that, unless you guys have anything further, that is our live stream for this evening.
We've gotten out of control.
I am going to start getting myself. This thing has crashed again. I'm going to start getting myself ready to hit the sack early. Ricky is still in the bear house, so we're gonna, figure out how to get rid of her. I'm sorry. We love having you here, and
Mad cat face.
Oh,
It looks more like a sad cat face.
Yeah, I don't think that avatar is designed for mad.
Porcupine Butler says mad cat face. No, I could do mad. See.
Okay.
Sort of. All right. Bye, y'all.
How's that?
That's perfect.
All right. Yes, it's perfect.
All right, you're gonna have to end the stream since I glitched out, so I'm no longer.
Am I back in control?
Yes.
All right. Love y'all. See you tomorrow morning.
Bye.
Tomorrow morning will be hosted by Ricky and Kirsten. I may or may not be there. If I am, I'll be sitting at a poker table. Just kind of ignoring y'all.
Sounds like
that might be worth the thing. Y'all have a great evening or a great day if you're in South Asia. We love you, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye.